All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, tonight we're shining a light on the Erisco food controversy, a case that has sparked outrage and concern. Choma Okoli's negative review of the Nagiko's tomato mix led to a 5 billion lawsuit, arrest, and arraignment. In the most recent hearing in court, her lawyer admitted that she allegedly lost her pregnancy. That pregnancy, she was carrying a set of twins, actually, because of the strain of the case. Now, despite this confession, she was still remanded in jail pending the ruling for her bail applications. Now, joining us tonight are our guests, Priscilla Amadi, a service culture evangelist, and Cynthia Yinkere, a certified customer experience professional and lawyer. Now, Priscilla Amadi has vast experience in the customer relating field, which spans over 12 years. She is also the founder of Service Culture Academy and Revenue Generation Consultant. While Cynthia Yinkere, in the past 20 years, has managed leadership roles in law, public relations, product management, customer experience, and marketing and communication across industries such as banking, fintech, insurance, health, hospitality, energy, and the retail sector. So I tell you today, we have a packed conversation. So as much as we can, let's keep our responses sharp, short, so that we can have in a lot, All right, so let me come to, because Cynthia is, Priscilla is here with us. Let me come to Cynthia, because they've not seen her face at all. Hi, Cynthia. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Thank you, Priscilla, as well.
Thank you.
All right, so let me come to you, Cynthia. Can you hear me? Are you there?
I can. Yes, I can.
All right, awesome, awesome. All right, so Cynthia, when you first heard the case of the Choma Okoli's case and Erisco Food, as a legal practitioner, right? What was your initial response to the situation? Was it I can't wait to take up this kind of a case because everybody can clearly see that this is the joy of people that are working in the legal space. But let me hear your thoughts. What were your responses or reactions when you first found out about this case?
Okay, hi everyone. So for me, I'm more of a consumer protection advocate. So that's where my legal training sort of merges with my customer experience career. I just felt it was overbloated, and I absolutely thought it would die down and just fizzle away. I thought it was a case of using a hammer to kill an ant. And it was just one of them Nigerian, chase, run of the mill, chase a helpless citizen sort of scenario until we started hearing, the impact of her life and family just a few days ago due to all the harassment. So it's become really amazing.
Absolutely. Let me come to you, Priscilla. I mean, you were on the show, to have the conversation, and from the last time you were on the show till now, right, I know you've been monitoring the situation very closely,
Yes,
right?
I have.
What would you say, is the current state of this situation with Cynthia, what's her name, Chioma?
All right, there's been a lot that's happened since the last time I was here till now. But the latest great news is that she has been given opportunity to get bail. I think with some conditions, which includes dropping her international passport and also 5 million, as well as other conditions.
She needs 2 shorties to also drop their passports.
Exactly. Yeah. And then we also got the update from the lawyer that she lost her pregnancy. As at then, the last time I came here, she was pregnant. Then by this time, she's no longer pregnant. And unfortunately, it's twins, 2 kids. And then we've had international communities get involved in this particular conversation. We've had TikTok videos on this, just literally making a joke out of it. And they cannot believe that this is happening about in their words, tomato puree. That's what they like to call it. But the fact is, what we've also had on the part of Erisco is that there's been claims that they have rebranded in the market, and some very, very smart consumers were quick to pick some similarities and posted it on social media. So this is what I report as seen on social media. So those are the dramas that have happened till now, but the latest is just basically the bill.
So we are talking consumer protection,
Yeah.
right? And I'll come back to
Cynthia.
pardon me, Cynthia, because I've seen terrible reviews on social media. In fact, there's a video I saw online. I say, even me, if I'm the company, I'll go and beg this woman that please, whatever I did to offend you, don't be angry. Because she actually showed her son hospitalized for using one of those products, in the US, right? I mean, these are things. So I went back to read the Chioma's matter. It's just sugar, right? You said, oh, this thing is too sugary, right? I think maybe it was the reply of when she now said, tell your brother to stop killing people or something like that. Maybe that is when what they are now holding on to. But she was actually just genuinely giving a review, right? Is it that we as consumers, we don't have any right at all to even kind of like question what we're being fed with? The other day, Uti posted something on the group, how people are using chemicals to make ice. So now I've told anybody that cares to listen, if you know what is good for you, do not buy anything in traffic. Because what the people said was they are not able to get light for a while. So those chemicals, I mean nitrogen and whatever mixtures, quickly generate ice for them that they are able to use to then ice some of these products. This is directly impacting my health as a consumer. So you see people dying, you don't know why they're dying. So Cynthia, is it that we as Nigerians, right, when we encounter a product and we see that there's something wrong about this product, we're not allowed to speak up? We don't have that right? What does the consumer law say about us?
Absolutely. We have the rights. So we have a Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Act that guarantees consumers of every product, service in Nigeria the right to give feedback, to give reviews, and to seek redress. So yes, it talks about, so the act is broad in its provisions about competition, monopoly, but it also guarantees the rights of the consumer. And before now, I see the FCCPC doing such great work in protecting the rights of consumers, even to the point of managing price manipulation. Because I remember when some stores were locked or some stores were giving some query and warnings about, price manipulation around the time of the cash swap scenarios, cash swap issue. They are in Nigeria to protect the consumers. So as far as the consumer rights in Nigeria, there are consumer rights. But I think that we as consumers have to keep on sort of updating ourselves, creating awareness, and consumer advocates as well need to create awareness about these rights. Because when you look at, and I like the way you asked the question, when you look at the exchange between what I'll call Team Chioma versus Team Erisco, you see an apparent lack of awareness about the rights of consumers to give feedback. So you hear things like, he's done so much for his business. If you have 40 years work in a brand, how dare anyone talk about the brand? And I know that my colleague Priscilla would have a lot to say about, the voice of the customer. So as regards the rights and the legal implications of giving feedback, Chioma is covered.
So where were they? let me come to
Okay,
you.
Priscilla, I would like to find out, do you think that Erisco approach to this was extreme? Because I feel like the fact that they've held on this for too long or dragged this for too long is rather causing more damage to the brand. Because some people, I feel like, did not know this was out there. But now, because of how this is has gone viral, you have CNN reporting on it, you have other media outlets. Do you think this has caused more damage to Erisco as a company?
Oh yes, for sure. Not only has it caused damage, it has forced the company to activate PR and also forced the company to rebrand, right? Totally unnecessary. If, like she said, my colleague, Mrs. Cynthia, it was a case of using sledgehammer to hit a fly. we are in the customer experience space, and that kind of feedback is not what you go all out for begging. It's what you call the customer and thank. Because there are 1,001 things that could have gone wrong from production till when she got that product. So let us say the company actually had a certain concentration of that they are supposed to deal with. And then between when it was produced till when it got to Chioma, there's a lack in the middle. So if there was a very good customer experience professional or advocate in the company, the first thing you would do is contact Chioma. When you do that, you find out where did you buy this, and then trace back the step
You
to
don't even know
production.
whether it was a counterfeit product. You don't know nothing.
That's my point. So instead of going on, oh, you are trying to bring down our business, because the fact is, like my colleague also said, customers have a right to not only question the quality of products, they also have a right to state or address their concerns. There are a lot of rights under FCCPC Act, that's the Consumer Protection Act, that protects Chioma, up to 4 of them. For starters, right, that protects Chioma already. So now let's leave the fact that it's protecting Chioma. There's the fact that she thinks that there's a lot of sugar in that product. This is a pregnant woman. We all know that pregnant women should be particular about the product they consume. So if she's raising alarm that, oh, this thing is heightened, what if there's in that particular can that she has, maybe the quality assurance was not okay, and that sugar was actually high. Nobody bothered about the concerns of her health. Nobody bothered about the fact that she could have been consuming something that is highly detrimental to her health. Everybody's particular about the fact that this man is building a $40 billion or 40 years worth of company. Who is he building it for? Is it not for customers? Are the customers not supposed to be alive to consume these goods? So Chioma raised a very concern. And there's something you said in the following comments. If you read that comment, unless we are assuming that killing is one extra letter, because she used asterisks. And there is no court that she's not going to win that case. Because we all know that when you put asterisks in the middle, it could mean anything. So it is even the individual that was instigating that conversation that should have been picked. Because why are you pushing these conversations towards that place, right? She used asterisks, she put K
Because
and then
her
asterisks.
first comment was very neutral.
Yeah.
And she said, please, is it only me or help me? So it was even a way of even promoting the brand. Go and buy it and test it for yourself.
Let me amuse you guys. Shortly after the Erisco saga, Gino had a similar situation on social media. In fact, the consumer did a videoed the product, and then posted it on social media. You should see the fantastic handling skills of the Gino company. Right? Gino not only followed up to this situation, they came to the consumer, they followed up, and then at the end of finding out what was going on, they did what we call in customer experience compensation plan. They gifted this customer a carton of Gino product.
It's all right.
The same similar, in fact, Chioma's own was just a comment. This consumer did a video and was just very not so nice to Gino. And then instead, they did what every professional. In fact, that particular Chioma's feedback is a gold mine for any professional that is actually into customer experience. It's a good, for me, I would dance. And then after dancing, I would call Chioma and apologize and offer to come see her, even find out about her welfare. You know, that 1,001 ways this thing could have been milked.
Gone. Let me come to you, Norma. God of heaven. Kai, Nigeria. Abuse of power is horrible.
It's crazy.
Norma, let me come to you.
And that was where I was coming to. Thank you, Priscilla. I mean, it's just complete PR gone bad. How could you not? And that's where I'm coming to, the abuse of power. So I want to push it both to you, Priscilla, and to Cynthia.
Yeah.
As in, for the lawyers that played a role in this case, for example, where is the abuse of power? Because from what you're saying, Priscilla, that Chioma is able to win this case. Why is this case still in court if it is not a case of an abuse of power? Because if the lawyers know that this is clear, that the customer is supposed to be right, there were better ways that these things could have been handled, then why did she have to be remanded in jail until unfortunate situations like losing her babies? And this is so personal now because I'm even a twin. So hearing that she lost twins, I mean, what compensation are you going to
Do you
pay for
understand?
that as a consumer, as a customer, and somebody who has been accused of so many things that are going to be proven in court as not true? So I mean, this is such a messy situation, and I'm just wondering how, from the legal point of view, how is this thing going to turn out?
Okay, you know what, Norma? Priscilla and Cynthia would answer the question, but we need to quickly go on a very short break. When we come back, I'll come to you guys. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, if you just tuned in, we're having a conversation around consumer protection, right? And we're discussing the Erisco food saga, again, because there are recent reports of, the young girl, Choma, being granted bail and, of course, her losing her set of twins and all of that. So we had to bring back the situation. And we have our guest with us, Priscilla, and we have Cynthia with us. Priscilla is a service culture evangelist, and Cynthia is a certified customer experience professional. Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join this conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-8038-4663. Our phone line is now open. If you can, join the conversation. The number to call is 07025007749. All right, so let me come to Cynthia. Then I'll come back to you, Priscilla. On Norma's question, what do you think? Is it that the lawyers were unaware about the consumer protection rights that covers her? Because, I mean, I hear that she's been in custody since 2023, right? Since last year, over 6 months, right? If I'm correct. So if this consumer protection right is truly activated, and is it that the lawyers are unaware, or, why is she still... why did it take this long for her to even be granted the bail?
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, what's happened is, first and foremost, not a consumer rights issue. So the IGP, who was petitioned by owners of Erisco, have decided to bring a cyber crimes act against Unoma. Against
Chioma,
Chioma.
yeah.
Against Chioma. So that, changes the game entirely. So from just a regular review, which could have been seemingly negative and maybe libelous, and that would have even made sense if, for example, these lawyers, and by the way, so when a crime is committed, it is the state that actually brings up a case against you as prosecution. So the police is the police is the party bringing the prosecution against Chioma. So you see how it works here. So the police who have been petitioned, who are being used to drive the conduct, so to say, against Chioma, are the ones bringing the case and the charge of cyber crimes. I will talk about cyber crimes and the, should I say, vagueness, right, and ambiguity of that act. So it's now a cyber crimes case and not an issue of just a negative review, which could have come under defamation, libel. And in that case, that would have even made more sense because this is a commercial case, right? And we shouldn't have been hearing anything about incarceration, keeping in custody. You don't do that in commercial cases. You have criminal cases that are offenses, and you have commercial cases which are just breakdown of transactions between two transactional parties, right? So that's where it becomes interesting. Now a cyber crimes charge is brought against Chioma, and this is how it has been sort of made to seem that by her using the internet to state that there was more than normal sugar in the tomato mix. She was being malicious. She was intentionally trying to demarket. She was trying to bully. She also was trying to drive down, with the help of other parties to a syndicate, to bring down Erisco Foods as a company. And that is what they are holding on to. So when you say, how on earth can lawyers, bring up a charge and hope to win such a charge, that is how it can happen. And that is because it's being driven by the state against Chioma as a criminal offense. Now, even if it was a defamation case, we've had various scenarios, either within Nigeria and outside Nigeria, of defamation cases by brands against consumers. So we had one with McDonald's. Some activists came up in 2000, I think 1997 or so, against McDonald's, alleging that they had some things in their food. I mean, they had excessive fats. It was unhealthy for children. They used children a lot in their advertisements. And the case went on for quite a while, till the 2000s. Even after they won, because the court found out that there were some elements of libel. I mean, some exaggerations, which is not really the case here, because saying you have excess sugar in a quantity of tomato mix is dependent on your taste, right? Some of us like candy, some of us like sweet and sour, right? And even when the court won, even when McDonald's won, eventually the European Court of Human Rights found it to be totally prejudicial years after, and demanded McDonald's to pay the defendants to that case. We've had other cases, even I think in Nigeria, we had one, MTN Saga versus Shatoloyede, where she made some comments on I think on the internet about MTN, and MTN tried to bring up, a libel case against her. But you see, what again courts need to do is they need to be very careful about hampering the voices of consumers and customers. And what generally, so flowing into the brand perspective point of view, what generally tends to happen is you never win, even when you win.
Yeah.
Because it becomes a reputational damage to your brand. Consumers are scared to use your products in the fear of, being silenced if they have feedback. And so you just never see yourself coming out of the hula that comes around, defamation and libel cases. And interestingly, that's not what's coming on here. Although I recently noted and observed that they have brought a defamation case now, after the fact, a second case, But again, I think if anyone was to go by defamation, at this point, it would be Chioma, for many reasons. So she had a review online, and it was simple, like you said, a simple negative review. It was the trolls that came after her that she responded to. Now, when you look at the Cyber Crimes Act, which they, want to use as the provision to bring her under this case, you realize that it talks about some very grievous cyber crimes like cyber stalking, persistent harassment, trying to defame, a brand for malicious intent. You see that the subsequent responses by Chioma after her initial post, and she made only one post, so there is no persistency. And I think persistence, and if you really look at the what's it called now, the provisions of the Cyber Crimes Act and what it really and what it's defined as, you would see the word persistence in, say, cyberbullying or cyber stalking, you know.
Because when you
It was
say
just one
stalking,
post.
it's just one post she did. So how did she get from
Post.
posting one thing to stalking who?
She was
You know?
even stalked.
Okay.
You know? Yeah, quickly.
So you see, yes, please. So you see how it was blown out of proportion just to make her look bad. And of course, they will have a case to answer because, I mean, in the courts, he who alleges must prove. So you have proven that the intent was to maliciously demarket your brand, was to work with syndicates, probably importers who killed, because they mentioned also that they too had been found killing people with their own tomato products. You will have to prove that. You would also have to prove which syndicate she's a part of and who all these members of the syndicate are.
Yeah.
So I think that they have their work cut out for them.
They have
really.
a lot of work.
I just think that it may be an abuse of process, seeing that there may be other uses for the police at that time, at this time.
So Priscilla, I see you nodding and nodding and
Like
nodding.
my head almost falls.
Oh, yeah, quickly.
This situation is very sad. Like my colleague said, there was just no reason in the first instance. But what's amazing is this. The FCCPC is on Chioma's side. Okay. Because at first, when this case happened, at the time, the DG was Mr. Babatunde Irukera, and he was on this. She was detained. She was taken from Lagos and taken to Abuja to be detained. So he followed up the case, and they got her released first, right? Before the court. The court actually granted, I think there was an order, restraining order for the police. No, you see that the FCCPC, that actually the custodians of the Consumer Act, are on Chioma's side. Because minimum of 4 acts under that act protects her already, right? And they also summoned Erisco, because there's a part of that act that says when there's some form of complaint done, the FCCPC summons the company. You understand? For them to come and check out explain the product. Erisco was summoned by FCCPC last year in wake of this this particular case. So if you look at it, at first, Erisco Foods wanted to go on the path of defamation and libel at first. Because if you watch the interviews of the CEO, he was very particular. You want to spoil my company, and of course, spoiling, and you want to kill the name of my company. It was about defamation. I think the lawyers dragged him back and said, this one may not work. And if you notice, the case is now with like she said, the police and Chioma using our favorite cybercrime quote that seems to be working for a lot of parameters now that is confusing a lot of Nigerians. But this is just a case of a customer is not satisfied. This is a clear case of dissatisfaction. Or there could be 1,001 things. It could be misinformation. It could be dissatisfaction. 1,001 things. But you decided to go this route. And international communities now know your tomato puree so bad, he had to bring in a PR consultant who wasn't even able to be successful with it. And then they had to change the name of the company, according to some people alleging on social media that they've changed and all that. So if you go to social media now, the company is not having it easy. This could have just been a miracle opportunity, and it's been thrown off the window. And then it makes me wonder, in light of this, it is very important that us customer experience professionals speak against this, especially for our consumers and our customers as advocates. Do you know why? We do not want this precedent set. You and I know that when it comes to quality of products and goods, to a very large extent, a lot of companies may not be hitting the bar.
They rely on feedback.
They rely on, thank you. So I personally, and I said it the last time, I rely on feedback 1,001 times. And do you know how difficult it is? Let's say you have a company and you have 20,000 customers. To get up to 1,000 feedback, you would have to speak a lot of English. Yeah. And then when this is happening, in wake of this, you are further reducing the opportunities for us as customer experience professionals to be able to create that experience based on feedback. Because guess what? The customer is king. the customer is king.
In the matter of taste.
No, the customer is king, right? The customer may not always be right, but the customer is king.
Yes.
Now, what do you do to a king? Sometimes the king is not always right, but that doesn't mean that you go and cage the king,
And arrest
or
the
you
king.
arrest the king, or you throw the king in cell, or you make the king drop his international passport. I mean, if that's the way it's going to go now, I mean, there are 1,001 kings internationally and both locally that should be in jail according to some actions if Nigerians are not happy. But a king is a king. So if your consumers are the reason for you to be in business, you need feedback. Imagine if our customers now say, oh, is this what is happening here? The law does not protect us enough. FCCPC does not protect us enough. And even the customer experience professionals are not... don't have the guts to protect us enough. And that's why you have professionals like I and other people, and also my colleague Cynthia, speaking out about these things, to telling consumers that, hey, you have a right. Whatever is happening now, we don't understand. We are watching what is going on, but you have a right. And please don't use this as a reason to not give us feedback. We beg. We need your feedback.
Because now that is what Nigerians will do. Say, may I talk, may they carry me go jail. I not talk. Anything one I want, do one I do.
You now have one-time consumers that won't come back.
Absolutely.
And then you now have a warehouse filled up with products, and then nobody's even telling you what is wrong. What if what is wrong was just reducing it from 20 mg to 10 mg, and everybody will love you? But they didn't say anything, because the last time somebody spoke, she has been fighting for her life. She lost her twins, and her husband has been running from pillar to post. They had to crowdfund. The lawyer is on pro bono. He took it pro bono because he couldn't stand the abuse of human rights. And every day he keeps saying it, her rights are being abused.
My God, I don't even know where to come in. Because we are quickly running out of time. But, I mean, Cynthia, if you had anything that you want to say as regards this conversation, right, what would you be saying, and who would you be addressing it to? Would it be to Erisco Food? Would it be to the government? The police that allow themselves to be used? Or who would you be addressing?
Okay. There's so much to say. But I would say that we need reforms generally. First of all, we do need to reform the Cyber Crimes Act. We need to know if it's being used as a tool to censor citizens. It's even more scary when we're censoring consumers who use their money to purchase goods. I mean, how bad can it be that I have to be silenced after spending my hard-earned money on your product? So we need to do that. We also do, of course, need to create trust within enforcement agencies. This is not me saying it, but a lot of sentiments around the country is all about abuse of power, abuse of power. So we see that abuse of power has now transcended from just, the state against the people to even private citizens continuously abusing power because of their financial might. So we do need to sort of create that understanding and trust amongst the law enforcement agencies. Another thing is we need the judiciary to help us. The judiciary, they say, is the last hope. Go to court is real. We need the judiciary to be able to interpret these laws with empathy. Facts, of course, but of course with empathy. In law, there's reading and interpreting laws based on, the legal facts. And then there is the spirit of the law. Was the spirit of the law of the Cyber Act crime to silence consumers or to attack malicious activities being done online? Aside from that, we as citizens need to always arm ourselves with information about our rights. Consumers have rights, and I'm going to transcend just being a consumer of a tomato mix to every single right. This is my good opportunity to say, speak up at the airports, speak up at the banks, speak up at the markets, at the supermarkets. Always allow people, let our service providers know that they have a duty to deliver the best service or product costable to us. Generally, I want to also comment on, having the, should I say, having the emotional intelligence to manage your position online. Yes, we see that Chioma, there's been, like I said, there's been two debates, two sides of the debate. Some people say even if she did the wrong thing, he's being high-handed. So just so that you err on the side of caution, we need to now be extra careful. This has taught us as consumers, as citizens,
To
as
also
human
take that
beings,
extra
to just
care.
be civil. Because
Absolutely.
you see, we are Nigerians, and sometimes we can get, ahead of ourselves and just say some things, even online. You have to be really careful because the internet never forgets.
Absolutely.
So for that, we also need to, and with this whole culture, this whole cancel culture, they don't see me, I can say what I like. You
You
don't know
have to
who's
be
watching.
careful. Absolutely. Norma, quickly, do you have one last comment or so I can quickly wrap this up? Thank you.
Well, Cynthia said everything. Please, let's be careful out there. It's the government needs to show us more than anything that they have our interests at heart. But more importantly, we have to show ourselves that we have our own interests at heart.
Absolutely. Glory, how about you? Then I'll come to Priscilla.
They've all said everything. I mean, like, we just all need to like watch what we say, and also like have evidence for maybe whatever we're coming out to say online, and just being careful. Yeah.
So if you had one thing to say, who would you say it to? I know.
I would say to the customer experience professional in Erisco Foods. That's the person I would be speaking to. I don't know if there's anyone there, I'm assuming, because most companies ought to have. But if there was one, what I would say is, I don't know how you fought the battle in the company before you got to this level, but stay strong and keep fighting. Hopefully, you'll be able to get them to see reason. And then for the consumers, yes, everybody has said be careful about what you need to say, but I need to beg you, right? You are the reason. Your feedback improves the quality of products you eat, improves the quality of services you get. Please, as much as possible, try as much as possible to give those feedbacks. You could be saving someone else's life. A diabetic could consume something too high and they won't even know that's what killed the person. Someone else could be allergic to a certain product, and we also reach out to the regulatory bodies. Please have these companies, especially when it comes to food, let them list out quantity of what is in these containers. Let them list out what is in these containers. We can't keep consuming things that kill us. Please. And this is not even about the Chioma saga. It's about us Nigerians just begging. We already have fighting food inflation. Let's not add the health crisis.
What you've just said. I saw a video of somebody using sniper, what's it called? The sniper thingy to ward off flies. And the guy was saying it that this is what they do. They have to protect the whatever. The woman said, but you are killing people using this thing. These are the things that we see every day. Like Nigerians, and we're actually staying alive is by the grace of God.
God loves us a lot,
I'm telling
actually.
you, because with the kind of things we consume, and when you now see that you're not even allowed to speak up, it even now makes it worse. Everybody just does what they want to do.
Exactly.
But like everybody has said, I'm hoping that, but we'll keep on bringing up the conversation because this is a great way to help us improve our system. But thank you so much, Cynthia. Thank you, Norma. Thank you, Priscilla.
Thank you.
And thank you, Glory.